So this piece is something of an unusual piece for me in that it is about a lot of things that are quite recognizable, boats, and it's called Ggaba, which is the name of a small fishing village near where I used to live in Uganda, which is now part of broader Kampala. And I've always been really interested in the shapes and sounds of a fishing village, the bulkiness of the boats, the chaos of the market people and people buying fish and looking for the best deal. But I've never really found, I think, an adequate way of painting these places. And lockdown actually presented an interesting opportunity for me because so much of my work is actually very directly in response to what's going on in the world and the places I'm engaging with, both as an artist but also as an advisor to governments. And clearly during lockdown, a lot of my travel came to an end. And so I was able to travel in my mind and revisit places that I'd never had a chance to paint during my more active time. And that's where this series, of which there are now 4 different pieces, arises from. It's engaging with a place which I have very fond memories of, but also which contains many of the themes that proliferate in my work. The state of informal markets in Africa, the way people work and survive in very difficult conditions, and engaging with the sounds and sometimes smells of these type of environments. Now in this one we seem to be getting quite a few drips, which is nice. I always like to get a very wet drippiness in my work, and this is one of the great advantages of working in acrylic, is that the work can actually drip, and the drips give the painting some structure. They don't need to dominate, but they can play a very useful role. I'm quite enjoying the translucency that I'm getting from these very thin washes of paint. Trying to break up the shape of the boats to create a work that is more engaging than simply representational. I often return to slightly representational work at the start of a new series or a new idea. Somehow all abstract work has some source, and sometimes it's useful to visualize that source at the start of a journey, at the start of a painting. But soon that source becomes subdued or submerged by the painting. I quite like the way the green and the red are working. Again, it's about a fishing port, and the idea is that the shapes of the boats do not over-dominate the painting, and that the painting moves slightly in and out of focus. The palette is very Ugandan, red soil, lots of green plants and very fertile area, but applied in the context of a muddy fishing village, and trying to capture some of the energy of that space while achieving a dynamic structure in the painting. I love this piece, and I think perhaps the most successful piece in the series so far. The palette being very fresh and dynamic, the line work interspacing with the brushwork and the spaces, the underlying imagery of the boats and the fishing village not dominating the painting, so that we end up with what in my mind is quite a satisfying composition and a fresh and interesting palette. So there we have it, 4 different works in the theme of a fishing village that I used to live next to almost 20 years ago, and finally making it into some paintings.